Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Magpie Circle, our Monday night show. Is everyone happy? Is everyone looking forward to the last Saturday home match before the end of the year? It's top versus second, or second versus top, depending which way you want to badge it, at Meadow Lane on Saturday. A win over Walsall, I'm sure we've all worked this out, means that Notts are guaranteed to be top at Christmas, unless there is a caveat, marginal one. Swindon win by 4 more goals in their fixture than we manage. Couldn't be set up more nicely, could it, for a great game, albeit an early kickoff. Don't forget, 12:30. Nearing the halfway point of the season, 20 played, 23 is the halfway. If the current trend is continued, Notts will end up the season with 85 points. That's enough this season to go up in the top 3, I suspect. 3 wins on the bounce now. 2 clean sheets for a rejuvenated Cal Roos. And in all 3 of those wins, we've not had more than 42% possession. Put another way, possession with purpose if you're Martin Patterson. Or how about playing a way that maximises your chances of getting promotion out of League Two? Who was at Grimsby? Matt Dennis and Alassane Jatta now got 18 goals between them. The best strike pairing in League Two so far. All this and more on our show tonight with the professionals' verdict. Not Bodie or Doyle. You have to be of a certain vintage. Stell's probably too young. But of course, Mr. Stallard. Evening, Mark.
Evening, Paul. Yeah, evening, everybody. Yeah, sadly, I'm not too young. I do know the Bodie and Doyle reference. Yeah, so I am of a certain era. I was young when the professionals were on, but I do remember them. But yeah, looking forward to what a week this is, isn't it? What a game we're looking forward to on Saturday.
Yes, I thought I'd even script my intro, try and do it properly this week, given that everything else seems to be being done very professionally on the pitch by Mr. Patterson and the players. Let me not forget that thank you as always to our official partners, JH Accountants, the Big Shed, the Trent Navigation, and also Over the Road. Christmas presents, gratuitous plugs. I've just wrapped another 3 books up before I came on air. 20 quid, free postage, One Flew Over the Magpie's Nest for the Notts fan in your life from my eBay site. Just click on One Flew Over the Magpie's Nest, take you to my website. Jim O'Brien tickets, Jim over 200. Remarkable, to be fair, remarkable. Over 200 gone in the first 7 days, only a tenner. That date is Thursday, February the 12th, 7 o'clock at the Over the Road. We've got our 3 VIP table sponsors all sorted. Thank you to Greza Maxwell, to Martin Kelk as well. So if you're planning to go, you can buy some special souvenir tickets, badge them up as Christmas presents. Act quickly because this will be a sellout. This will be a sellout. Right, enough of the gratuitous plugs. Just before we go to Stell, on the basis we've got about 186 messages on the boards, I'm going to try and do a big dump of those now. And so let's get the thoughts and views. Richard Elvian was first on at 4:21 today. I only put the link up on about 4:19, so we seem able to adapt and get results, whatever is thrown at us right now. Suspensions, injuries, and the like. More depth in the squad than we thought back in August, which is kind of exactly what the preamble Stell was having with me before we came on air. Martin Blaney, evening chaps. That's 2 good wins in the bag so far. Let's make it a full house come January. Stephen Belshaw watched Walsall a couple of weeks ago, and to be fair, I was less than impressed. Always dangerous, that, Stephen, always dangerous. Nigel Bosworth, 2 great winners. The team are showing what what we need. It will be a great third win if we can beat Walsall on Saturday. Peter Andrew, not Peter Andre, after 2 backs to the wall wins, increasing expectation. Hopefully the same fighting spirit is there on Saturday. Show regular Ian Cooksey. I wonder if fans of other clubs are looking at Notts as a tough fixture now. We are now 9 to 10 points clear of teams like Colchester and Grimsby. I expect that gap to get bigger as the season develops. Nick Hogg, we need 4 quality players in Jan and release a few non-squad players. 1 striker, keeper, creative midfielder and a wing-back. Have we not got enough wing-backs? Adam Kent, nice to meet up with you, Paul, on Saturday. Tickets booked for the Jim O'Brien night. The journeys home from Grimsby seem to be more fun each season as it passes. Shout out to Keller Roos for that triple save. Man of the match again for me. Nick Hogg goes on. Iapenda could be a big issue in January as he's on loan from League One and more than capable of producing at that standard. Lose him with Robbo and Palmer issues, and we are in serious trouble. Serious, I guess, is a comparative phrase at the moment. I understand what you're saying, Nick. Adam Kent, could someone point out to Patterson, who said in his post-match interview he got booed for not doing the fist bumps. I, for one, was singing the Ruse chant at the time. Ian Cooksey, we have a chance to put a marker down for the rest of this month and in January, by which time we will have played 30 games. Really? If we are on 55 points plus at the end of Jan with a stronger squad, I think it's really on this year. Jurgen Pye, looking forward to Saturday. Should be a cracker. Good to see Paul and Chloe at Grimsby. Greza Maxwell, 1.85 points on average per game. Walsall are averaging 1.95. Win Saturday, we're on 1.9 a game, which the coverage, while Walsall's will drop to 1.85. We need to reach the golden 2 points a game to go up. Knots and Bolts podcast. I love the optimism here, Stel. Think we're only 16 or 17 more wins to going up. I mean, if we won so far, we won that many yet.
Oh, God, what we won? 10, 11? What we won?
Ian Cooksey.
11.
I love this. 14 wins and 6 draws gives us 85 points. We can even afford to lose 6 games on this basis. Gentlemen and ladies of the flock, please let us not get too carried away. Heed the words of the Padre Martin Patterson. Football has a habit of kicking you when you least expect it. Some epistles now from Jonathan Hammock's evening. Great time to be a Notts fan. I'm not going to speculate on January or the rest of the season. I'm just enjoying the moment. I think that's a very good way to look at it. Ian Rook. Hello, Paul. It's Ian. Previously an Uneaton Borough fan and now Notts County fan. Nice to meet you at the gym earlier today. I really enjoy watching your blog and listening to Stel on match days. Yes, you see, I do go to the gym. Really, I do.
Yeah.
And I was just about to be doing my stomachs to get them washboard abs in pristine condition, Stel, when Ian came up and introduced him as I was on my 17th set of 20. Believe that.
Absolutely. Every gym has a cafe now, doesn't it? So
you're not wrong. They do a good coffee, I'm told. Jonathan Hammock's part 2. It's just so lovely to hear Mark saying get in on a frequent basis. Also seeing the players interact with the fans. It's developing into a very special relationship. And echoing that Knots and Bolts podcast, there's something special happening at Notts this season. Jonathan part 3, not sure how many more we've got. As I've said before, so much credit must go to Martin Patterson. I never thought he could instill such togetherness, and it's a joy to see the players trying their hardest. Jonathan part 4. I think Martin has said to the players that it's an honour to represent the club, and they have bought into it. Let's hope they go down in the history books. Robert Minister from Junie in Australia. What a match. Dennis's strike, Platt's defence, and Rue's triple save. A lot to like at the moment. Keep banking those points and continue giving us the grit and determination. Jurgen Pye without Palmer and Robertson, I'd have taken a point before Saturday, but it ended up a comfortable win. Evening from David Dawes. Greza Maxwell, worst case scenario. If we lose on Saturday, we only go down to 4th, if my maths is correct. That's obviously, as you say, the absolute worst scenario. Ian Alcott, evening, Ian, our boxing expert, now based in Doncaster. We have Matty Palmer, Robertson, Hall, Ness, Platt and Gordon and Jody. If all fit, we'll have a strong squad list, just need a backup goalie. Richard Terry, we should listen and heed Stell's knowledge of the professional game. He stated continually that to get anywhere in this league, that the football has to be a mix. Hang on, and then we've about 7 other messages before I can get to this part 2, so hold that. Colin Metcalf, evening fellow Pie, so proud of our team right now. We have stickability, there's another word, that never say die attitude and team spirit that gets results. As a fan, that is something I can really buy into. Hello from Karen Knight. Tim Watchorn, who I said hello to on Saturday. Walsall only managed to draw with Shrewsbury. If we play well, no reason we can't win. A word of caution, Tim. We got a point against Harrogate. And I'd argue, well, on the table, there was. Greetings from Woodborough, says Richard Terry. A great week of entertainment on Tuesday and the grind on Saturday. Ian Hayward, wish I had a bet on the game on Saturday. I'd predicted a 2-0 win. Evening from Kay. Jurgen Pye reminding everyone it's 12:30 on Saturday. Northants Pie. I think it would be fair to say we were second best for much of Saturday. If we can continue to take points when we're not at our collective best, we should be there or thereabouts come May. Jurgen Pye, I was always behind Patterson, he says. Mark Williams, Ireland Pie. Evening, brilliant performance and result. Same again, please, Saturday, as I'm over from Ireland for the game. Dennis Jatta and others may be subject to a lot of interest in the January window. And I'll finish on this one. Adi Clark joining us tonight. The dynamic duo, Jatman and Dennis the Menace, strike again. Fantastic team performances. Come on, you Pies. Just concerned someone might come in Jan. As the brothers previously stated, everyone has a price. Hopefully you're still there, Stelz. That was a bit, as you can see. We've got a lot of messages. Are we getting too carried away or not at the minute, Stel?
No, I don't think we're getting too carried away. I think there's a lot of sort of accurate sort of comments in there. When you listen to the words, that people are using, stickability and things like that, they're not absolutely triumphant words, are they? They're not, oh, fantastic, wonderful, unbelievable, all these sort of, things that do go a little bit over the top. And I think I'd say I give Martin Patton a massive amount of credit for this. And he came in with, we say, under the radar, if you like. No pun intended on the football radar, but he came in under the radar. We said, I said myself, it was like an underwhelming in terms of name appointment, in terms of his CV, previous managerial history. Not a name or a record that was going to excite people. But what he's done in 20 league games is unify, I think, everybody behind what he's looking to do, what he's achieved in that time, and what he's still looking to achieve. I think there's still room for us to get better because of all them words that we're saying. There's still things to improve on. They're not the finished article, of course. But I think Martin himself, when you hear him in his post-match interviews, when you sort of see him and see his body language and see how he is not going to accept that the job is anywhere near done, that the levels have been reached until May. until we've actually achieved anything. He's not somebody to get carried away. Absolutely, almost the polar opposite. He's downplaying everything. But I think it's time we give him a big shout out, a big amount of credit for what he's done, because I think it's from him downwards, and it is always the way coaches, managers instill their, if you want to call it philosophy now, but it always used to be the way of playing, the way you want them to be. You reflect your manager, your coach, how you go about your business on the pitch. And I think with Notts, they've been effective in the maximum possible way they can be. There's a grit and a steeliness. They're the words I keep returning to: grit and steeliness about us that has been, I won't say not there, but has been not as prevalent in recent years. Good football, yes, but the grit and the steel, not so much. And I think he's turned that around in a short space of time. I think he's instilled that in the team, whereby we are absolutely maximising the performances that we're having and turning them into points, maximising the points return, I would say, given the performance levels. And that is a big shout, a big credit to him and his coaching team, Sam Slocum, Andy Edwards, and also the players, obviously, because they have to take it on board. And I think we've got a real good thing going, that we've got the likes of Matt Palmer, Scott Robertson missing for Saturday. Ollie Norburn comes in, does a job, experienced player, yes, comes in and does a job alongside Tommy Openda and Connor Grant in the middle of the park. But defensively, we were superb on Saturday. Matty Platt's come back in there, looked dominant on Saturday, particularly Jacob Beddoe, Lewis Macari, pretty consistent performers alongside them. And everybody, you could go through the whole team Saturday, everybody got their shirts sweaty, rolled their sleeves up, gave everything. And again, we're not always the prettiest team to watch now, in comparison, particularly to the last couple of seasons, but we are a far more effective team, I think, now. So that is a big credit to Martin.
Julie Howe, I've been behind Martin for a couple of months now. Greza Maxwell, some banter going on with Mr. Cooksey, normally is. Ian Haywood. I had nothing against Martin from the start. Always knew he is the right man to get us promoted. I'm not sure whether there's an element of faux surprise there. Adam Kent. I'm a Pato fan for short. Surprisingly, due to not knowing much about him, we certainly have find a way to win mentality at the moment. All credit to the head coach. As you can, I've always supported Pato. To be honest, can't recall seeing any negative comments about him. Looking forward to Saturday, says Rare Productions UK. Expect a 12k crowd, 3 points and a pie. Dale Piker evening. I thought the ref had a good game on Saturday, seeing it was his first EFL match. Was it his first indeed? Okay.
Yeah.
Confirmed by Stel.
Confirmed by Adam. I'm taking Adam at his word, but he does the research on the refs. But yeah, he said it was his first. And we, believe it or not, mate, we saw them in Starbucks in Grimsby. We got there early Saturday, so we went in Starbucks and we saw all the officials sat in Starbucks having a coffee before the game.
Starbucks on the left before you get to the ground.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. About half a mile short of the ground. Yeah, they were in there. Yeah, with the. Oh, got it. I know we did with who was the referee's assessor. I'll have his name before the end. A former ref, and Adam Googled him and found his name, and I can't remember. It's gone. It'll come back to me before the end of the hour, I'm sure. But yeah, we saw them anyway. But I thought he did have a good game for his first game. But we're going to say that we won the game, didn't we?
Did you treat him to a Starbucks latte or whatever he was having?
I absolutely treated him to a. I don't know what he had, Adam. Did he have a latte? Might have been something like that, but absolutely. Put it, not BBC expenses, it was out of my own pocket as well before people start questioning that.
Alan Cotty, I'm going to a Christmas meal at 12:30 on Saturday. Is it bad manners to watch the Sky coverage on my phone at the table? Joseph Crabtree, massive credit to Pato, who was not playing like a proper promotion challenging League Two team. Please, Roos had another impressive game too. Bring on Saturday. Stephen Newton, my brother, had two cats called Bodie and Doyle. I think Jurgen Pye's got some cats. I think is one called Bodie Jurgen. I'm not sure. Chris Gosling. This time last season, we had dropped to 11th, had we, and only just been walloped at Salford. I remember the Salford game. God. This Notts side are something special: resilient, steadfast, economical, and together. That away end was great again on Saturday. Duncan Comrie, evening everyone. Great performance and results Saturday. Hopefully we can end this year on a high with another 4 points or maybe 6. That is, of course, including the away game at Chesterfield. Actually, we've got another one. Got MK Dons away, haven't we? Before 2026. What else have we got? Stephen Newton. He's reminded us about his cats. What position does Stell think will come back in terms of recruitment? Focusing a little bit tonight on kind of the whole Walsall game. It's not often the top two play, and we're actually involved in it. So better recruitment in the summer than we thought, says Bat and Ball. Trish Riley. I'll be in Scarborough for our golden wedding. Congratulations, Trish and Mr. Riley, on Saturday. Already rung ahead and booked a table and screen in the pub there. Very kindly agreed to show Notts for me. That's very good. Norfolk Pie. We're darting around the country here. Not bothered where Notts are in the league at Christmas, only at the end of the season. More importantly, Notts look like a team that other teams will not want to play against. Derek Flowers, Patterson, and this echoes Stell's point, won't let the previous 3 wins go to the players' head. He's right to keep their feet on the ground. Josh Oates. I always watch the full match back on the Notts app and thought if Grimsby got the first goal, it would have been a different game. But a great triple save from Kelroos in the first half. We were right behind that, indeed it was. It's like Inspector Gadget when he's on the floor and this telescopic 8'3" arm comes up as the ball's about to cross the line. So, yeah, well played to him. And I'd say he showed a good turn of speed, Stell. There we are celebrating Jatta's goal, and out of nowhere comes Kelroos 120 yards away. I bet he ain't run that fast for a long time.
I was going to say, yeah, absolutely. We sort of missed that. We sort of picked up on that after the game that he'd gone the full length of the pitch. Somehow we'd missed it in a sort of commentary and post-goal sort of celebration and describing it and whatever. So, yeah, credit to him. But yeah, I mean, going back to that save he made, I mean, I think I've seen it back on the cameras, and I don't think it does it absolute justice for how good of a save it was at the time. How it's not gone in when the ball dropped, you see things in slow motion. Obviously, when it drops in your own box, and the lad looked like all he's got to do is strike it well and put it on target. It's going to be in, and to block it, and then I think the second save was with his foot, wasn't it? And then it just he kicked it against the players that were in front of him about a yard off the line. How it didn't go in the goal, I will never know. And he's sort of performed miracles to keep it out. Absolutely unbelievable save or saves. And yeah, somebody said if they get the first goal, you never know in football, do you? It could be a totally different game. But as we always say, ifs, buts, and maybes don't count for anything. It's what actually happens. And again, Kelleroos, for the stick that he's had previously in the last few games, has certainly proved his worth, hasn't he? And come up with some vital moments to balance out the sort of balance things out a little bit more. So credit to him for that, particularly after you come off some stick from your own fans.
Ian Alcock, Paul, you can have a free personal boxing lesson if you fancy it. I'll give your abs a good workout. Hey, I tell you what, Ian, because he is a professional boxing trainer, is Ian. Manvers School, I was Greenwood, so I'm not. He might put me through my patience. But I'll tell you what, Ian, when I'm on the pads, I've got as good a chance of beating Anthony Joshua as Jake Paul. All right, which is clearly zilch chance. But unlike Jake Paul, I accept I can't box. Ian Cooksey, it's a good sign that even with key players injured, the squad can step up and still grind out results. I think the goalkeeping coach, we've got a new one of those, haven't we, has got to take some credit for the upturn in form of Kel Roos. Stell's mantra, says Ian Cooksey, of it's only results that matter and me, Cooksey, and me. That's all I ever say. It's the mantra that results only that matter has never been so true. Chris Gosling sounds a note of caution. Walsall have collected 20 points on the road this season, best in the division. Notts third best home form. Someone at Sky got the scheduling right. To be fair play for selecting this game for coverage. A Christmas cracker, he says. Leah Wigington, is Stell coming to Jim's night? Jim, right? Yes, he is.
Yes, yeah.
He's down. Yeah. If you haven't got
Is that going to keep you away, Leah? Is that going to keep you away if I do?
You're not coming now, are you? You're asking for a refund. Northant Spy positions you would strengthen him. We can pick that up on another show. Right. We're nearly caught up. Stel, strikers. Obviously, you can critique them far better than any of us. They're both on fire. They've both scored great goals, great finishers. Who's the best finisher of Mr. Dennis and Jatta, in your professional opinion?
That's a tough one, isn't it? Because by naming one, you've got to disparage the other, and they're both in fantastic form.
Not necessarily disparage, but what are the differences?
Yeah, I know, you know what I mean.
Because
for me, from what go on. You do yours then. You do yours.
No, all I was going to say is that when you watch back Matty Dennis's goal on Saturday, I think I've said before, he has this ability as an amateur to kind of get the ball out of his feet, get a yard and whip the shot off from 20 yards, and does it very well. And when you watch that goal back on Saturday, when he gets the ball with his back to goal, there's absolutely nothing on. There's nothing on, and he's kind of swiveled, dropped one way, then gone the other, and he's gone onto his wrong foot, hasn't he? Left foot, bottom corner.
Yep, absolutely. Look, they're both good strikers. That's what I'm going to say. They're both good strikers. Before any of this is seen as anything negative for the most prolific pairing in the EFL this season at the minute, should I say, or joint leading in the EFL. So none of this is meant. We're talking small margins. But for me, I like Matty Dennis in terms of his quality of finishing. And again, he's not. We're talking about Alessandro Jatta, who scored almost a goal every other game, hasn't he? While he's been here over a couple of season and a half, couple of seasons. So just phenomenal. But I think from what I've seen, small sample size or smaller sample size for Matt Dennis, I think on percentage of chances taken, and also the sort of goals he scores as well. I think he's been really impressive, and even more impressive the fact that he's got 10 league goals. He's only had 10 league starts. I counted that up the other day. I just did that after the game, and how many games has he missed? He's started 10 league games. And to have to, yes, I know he's come on in a few of the other games as well. He missed a couple with injury. But I just look at particularly the goal Saturday. After the 25-yarder against MK Dons, both similar goals, weren't they? Just almost mirror images, if you like. Slightly different finish, but sort of similar sort of position, different side, different foot. I think Alessandro Jatta, as brilliant as he is, and he's playing a different role, so he's going to get into different positions on the pitch than Matty Dennis is. But I think that maybe Jatta doesn't score that goal Saturday. Maybe Alessandro, from 25 yards with his left foot, maybe doesn't find that finish that Matty Dennis does. Again, that's not, if that sounds a criticism, it isn't. It's praise for Matty Dennis. Because to score two 25-yarders in a week, or in, 4 days, one with your right foot, in off the post, one with your left foot, beating the keeper in the bottom corner, that is skillful in the extreme. Very similar goals, coming and receiving the ball on the half turn, getting to. Yes, I mean, cracky me, you can critique the defending all you want, but but you've got to capitalise. There'll be bad defending, whatever league you're playing, but you don't always capitalise. And I think if you're forcing me to pick one, I would just say Matty Dennis shows a little bit more ruthless edge in his finishing. But again, it's only a smaller sample size. Jatta has been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and scored some wonderful goals. And again, he took his brilliantly, earned it himself, worked, closed the defender down, took it off him, and then had composure to round the keeper. And again, just a wonderful, wonderful goal. Your one chance in the game, I think it was, for both of them. So look, none of that is meant as a criticism, but I think you've got to say Matty Dennis, since he's come to the club in the summer, 10 league goal, 10 league starts, has done phenomenally well. And like I say, isn't guaranteed to be on the team sheet. So both of them are pushing each other. Martin Patterson's found a way of getting everybody competing for a shirt, whether that's the strikers or any of the players. There is real competition to perform. And I think a real belief from players that if you do perform, you will stay in the team, which builds confidence in everybody. There's but there's a lower sense of injustice in the dressing room if you're not in the team. If you're not in the team, it's probably because you've not been playing well enough if you've had a chance. You could have a bit of a moan if you've not had a chance, but them players that are getting the starting shirts are having to perform, and that is the only real way to keep competition for places.
A few thoughts from the flock. Chris Gosling: Dennis creates and scores his own chances. Jatta is a predatory finisher. It's a great combination. Greza Maxwell: Jatta scores inside the box. Dennis scores from outside the box. Andy Esom: on the subject of strikers, a few people have mentioned this to me. Mendes Lang did a hamstring at the weekend. I'm guessing that explains why he came off early against Notts. Likely to be out for the return game at MK Dons just before the end of the year. AD Clark: if you mix Jatta with Dennis, you get Stell in his prime. Couldn't laugh, should I?
Well, I did. I laughed.
Yeah, but what I hadn't fully, we were talking about hat tricks last week, and I think you'd said not got a hat trick, but in relation to Notts.
Yeah, not for Notts, no.
That's it. And then you get these, obviously it amazes me the number of football fans up and down the country that listen to this podcast. And there was a Fulham fan listening to the podcast, and they dropped a message to me afterwards. And they said, I'm sure there was a young kid called Mark Stallard that played for Fulham on loan, and he scored a hat-trick for us in one of his only 4 games. And I thought, well, I probably got that wrong. And I looked it up, and I'd seen you got 3 goals in 4 games. So, but that was, so you managed 1 hat-trick for Fulham, and you only played 4 games for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a million years ago. As a young lad, I went from Derby on loan to Fulham when they were League Two. I mean, this was way before the Al Fayed, Fulham, and all them millions came in. But I'd got a bit lucky down there. Played 3 games on loan, didn't score a goal. Then my last game before I came back, got a hat trick against. I think it was Exeter. I'm pretty sure it's Exeter. And Notts connection. I think Mark Cooper was actually playing for Exeter that day, I think, if I remember rightly, which might be wrong. If somebody cross-checks that, I don't know. But I say no hat tricks for Notts, but I got 2 in my career. Yeah, one for Fulham, one for Wycombe.
So you got 1 hat trick for Fulham, and I'm not sure it would have been Arthur Cox or not, but Derby whizzed you straight back and put you in Derby's first team. Then was that the case?
I don't think so. I think that was the last game of my month. I was down there on a month for a bit of experience, and it was some experience as well. I mean, there was some players down there then, Alan Cork and Terry Hurlock. Players like that. Gary
in the dressing room, did you?
Absolutely not. No, you did what he said. And Gary Brazil, another Notts connection. That's where I met Gary Brazil for the first time. He was still a player down there at Fulham. So good days, million years ago. Forgot most of it, but did get a hat trick. And again, just a strange little coincidence. My only other career hat trick for Wycombe was against, I'm pretty sure, Walsall, who we play this Saturday. So is that a lucky omen? I don't know.
How can you not be sure it was Walsall when you only scored?
I think
normally strikers remember every single goal from the angle, distance they've ever scored.
I'm 95% sure it is Walsall, but as sure as I can ever be sure about anything I remember. But I think it is Exeter and Walsall with me two hat-tricks against. So yeah, there we go.
Um, what do we say? What do we think about Walsall? I know we've not necessarily watched them this much, but to, in inverted commas, blow it the way they did, albeit they recovered in the playoffs to get to the final and lose. What does that say to you about Walsall that they've come back so strongly again this year?
It tells me they've got good players. A good manager, good players. Last season from the outside in, and again, you've got to remember we only see them
Yeah,
twice a
exactly.
season, don't we? Home and away. We had two good games against them, came out the wrong side of both of them. Um, but they've got good players. But last season, they were so far clear, wasn't it? I think they lost Nathan Lowe, didn't they, at the end of the year?
Recalled on loan,
And
wasn't he?
yeah, recalled by Stoke. And I think it was perceived that they were a one-man team a little bit because they fell away, didn't they? And people might then think, well, he went and that was it. They've got no other play. Well, I think what they're showing this season is that that absolutely isn't the case. It might have been a catalyst, of course, it might have been, but they've got like Daniel Corner on loan from Charlton, who's scoring goals. I think he's got 9 for the season, so he's a threat, a goal threat. Um, but they've also got good players around. They've got Aidan Flint at the back, took him from Mansfield. But they've got some good players there, solid, good players. And they've not got they've not got the lead and the gap in terms of points that they had maybe at this stage last season, but they're out there again, there to be shot at. And you think, well, Matt Sadler as a manager and the players, they've got to be doing something right. There's got to be a good mentality about the place to not, you see somebody get in the playoffs and what they call it playoff hangover, don't you? Next season it doesn't happen. Well, they've got out the blocks again. Well, they're consistently picking up points. But like anything else, let's not over egg them because they've lost 5 times, just like Notts have this season. I think all the top 3 in the automatic places have lost 5 games,
Mm.
been beaten 5 times this season. So they've lost a quarter of their games that have been played. So I think that is very much the watchword for this League Two season, which we've said for a couple of years, really. On the day, it's who turns up and performs and gets the result. And that's what's been so good about Notts, is that they've got the job done, irrespective of performance, irrespective of the type of football that's been played and the type of game it's been. They've got results. Now, Walsall may well have been doing exactly the same. I don't know. I've not seen any of their performances, but it's going to be a tough game. And when first place, second in any division, you know that it's on the line because both sets of players will definitely want to win it. It's not about where you are in the table, absolutely, in December, but when first place, second, it's almost like Clash of the Titans trying to prove who's the better team, and maybe more so than any other league game. So absolutely can't wait for Saturday. Think it's going to be a classic match, and really looking forward to it. And if Notts perform, then are they good enough to win the game? But if we don't, as ever, then Walsall have got the players that can really hurt you. So it's going to be a really tough game, tough one to predict, but appetizing and a mouth-watering one just before Christmas.
Interesting what you say there about a player's perspective, Stell. So clearly, as fans, top 2 playing each other, cameras just before Christmas, the right to be top Christmas Day, all of them sorts of things. We as fans clearly hype, the media hypes it. Martin Patterson is clearly of a mindset, one game at a time, don't get carried away, yada, yada, yada. So are you saying that as a player, when you play these type of games, they are a bit extra special to a player as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, top 2 because I say it's pride. Every game is about pride. You want to prove you're better than your opponents. You want to prove you're the better team. That happens week in, week out. But when it's first v second, all the focus around it will be on. If you're the team in second, then if you get beat, then the team that are going, oh well, we are the best, and that's it. You're the team, so you're going right. We want to show you. We're not going to let you come here and show us that you're the better. We're better than you, even though we haven't got as many points. But we're going to catch you. We're going to topple you, and there is this sort of mentality to it, that appetite for it. That you go, yeah, this is the biggest test. Every game is your biggest test because it's your next one. But when you play first v second, that is the one because there's been no better team up to this point other than us. Whichever position you're in, you're playing the best team outside you in the division. And this is your marker. This is your one you want to set down and go, yeah, and we won it. We're the best team in the division. And again, it is that little bit of extra. There is that. There's no players are humans. You might not again, and it's not about being top of. Not if Notts win, we're top of the table, and Walsall players will not be thinking, oh, if we win, we're top of the table. It'll be just that pride of we've beat the team in second, or we've beat the team top of the table, or who were top of the table. That's it. We've beat them. We're better than them. If we can beat them, you can beat anybody else in the division. It's that sort of pride and confidence that it gives you and belief.
Liam Terry, what I am loving at Notts at the moment is the fact we are scoring late goals. That shows the true grit to not give up even to the last few minutes of the game. And Joseph Crabtree puts a bit more clarity to that. Goals in the 88th minute plus in 4 of our last 5 games shows belief, and another interesting point, good levels of fitness. Dale Pikett says the injury problems are mounting up for MK. I'm sure they've got a decent enough squad. Maguire out with a hamstring injury as well. Ian Cooksey, as a side note, we discussed on Friday's show regards Darrell Clark and Bristol Rovers. They'd lost 4-0 at Barnet after us. They went down heavily at home to local rivals Swindon. Darrell Clark, who got a double promotion, I think, with Bristol Rovers first time around. Now, new record, 10 straight defeats. Just shows you, Stel, doesn't it? Different times, different places, same manager. One time a hero, the second, an unwanted place in club history.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously he's lost his job because of it, and you can't understand, you can understand how that happens, can't you? I mean, we had that with John Sheridan, didn't we? 10 consecutive defeats. I mean, it's just a horrible, horrible run of results, and we know football is a results-based business, and you can't keep your job in them circumstances. So it would be highly unusual if that happened. So. Yeah, obviously I don't know much about the inner workings of Bristol Rovers, but it's a big club, too big to be in the bottom 2. You would think of League Two, but they've gone out the division before, haven't they? They've gone out the league and come back in. I think that's when Darrell Clark was there first time, when he brought them back in. So yeah, like different set of circumstances. Things don't always work out the game. Again, it's my jigsaw analogy. That is, you've always got different pieces. You go to the same club, same name, same everything, but if you've got different players, you've got different jigsaw pieces to play with, and sometimes the pieces just don't fit together.
Not Joshless. I think Jatta shows great intent. Always, he knows where to be in terms of the balls coming over, spotting mistakes. He's done that the last 2 games, hasn't he, to score against MK and on Saturday at Grimsby. Dennis is much more clinical and closes and does more on the ball. They work together. Of course, the irony, Stel, is that it may well have been the case that had it not been for Tyrese Hall's 3-game ban, we may well not have had this partnership blossoming again.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is it. And it's these sliding door moments, isn't it? In life, in football, whatever, wherever you want to talk about it. Of what if, Tyrese Hall was being preferred. Matt Dennis was on the bench, wasn't he? In that sort of withdrawn position. The red card comes. Martin Patterson hand is forced. He goes with Matty Dennis, and however the mentality of it goes, Matty Dennis sees it as right. Even though I'm top scorer, I've got to go and perform. Goes and gets a couple of goals in the 2 games. Is performing alongside Jatta. And when Tyrese Hall's back available again, you can't imagine that he's going to get straight back in the team with the way Martin Patterson does things. So he's then the man who's maybe got to sit it out, be a bit patient, earn his right to get back in the team. Because at the minute, Jatta and Dennis played 2 games. They've scored 2 goals apiece in them 2 games. So we want that to continue as long as we possibly can. But again, this is what Martin Patterson has created in less than half a season. The fact that players, it sort of eradicates the possibility, if you like, of players throwing the toys out the pram a little bit. And you might have one or two who might have tested him in that time, but he's not for bending or changing. If you're not performing, or I don't think you're the best player for the starting shirt, you don't get it. Doesn't matter who you are. And that's Matty Dennis has been on the bench. Tyrese Hall might be on the bench. We've seen, senior players. Matty Platt was not playing when he came off the bench at Barrow before he got injured. So there's no real absolute shoo-ins. You've got to earn it, and that is absolutely. When you say that out loud, you go, well, that's obvious, isn't it? You would think that's an absolute fundamental, but it isn't sometimes. Quite a lot. You've got players that will just always be first name on the street and generally will play regardless, unless they're having an absolutely lean time. So yeah, it's a fantastic place to be, to have a decent sized squad with experienced players and a mix of young, inexperienced players, but a good sized squad all fighting for that shirt and it all meaning something to them. And it results, hopefully, for a season long period, as we've had for 20 games, whereby it looks like they're giving everything they possibly can every time they step over the white line. And yes, they might not win every game, but we're getting results more often than not. And like I say, as fans, you look at it and going, well, have our players given everything for the badge, for me, for themselves, and I think you could level one or two things, in terms of things can be improved. But I don't think work rate, fitness, absolutely, they do look a fit team, and Martin's said about that. But anything to do with effort, I don't think you can level an ounce of criticism at them. I think they've got that in abundance, and that has been absolutely front and centre in all the performances pretty much this season.
And to echo your point about no shoo-ins, since when Adam Hassel asked about the fitness of Jody Jones and Rod McDonald, he got the one-word reply I recall from Martin: fit, fit.
Yeah.
Neither of them have actually started yet.
No,
but Rod McDonald, before he got, until the injury, was probably the best of our defenders. Hasn't started.
Well, absolutely.
Historically been such a key player. Neither of those two have started a game since they've become fit again.
Well, Martin himself, didn't he? And I forget which post-match interview it was, called Rod McDonald that he's probably player of the season so far, or best player of the season. Where so he's fit, but he doesn't get back in the team because Matty Platt is in there doing a job. Lewis McCarry's preferred, and Jacob Eddowes preferred as that back three. He doesn't change the system to try and squeeze somebody in. He plays the way he wants to play with that back three, and I can't disagree with that. It is a case, but again, it's another message. It's a reinforcement of the fact that it doesn't matter what you've done, it's what you do. And if you are in the team doing it, then you will stay in the team and be given another chance to do it, to perform in the next game. And that is the absolute utopia from a football club point of view, because we can all think of players that have had great careers and have gone down the hill the other side. But if you get picked on name, then Stanley Matthews would still be about, or your players from yesteryear would still be playing. There comes a point when, hold on a minute, it's about what we see in the last game or few games, not what you did 2 or 3 years ago. So the likes of Joe, we all know Jody, we all know the ability he's got. Now, again, I'll be honest, I would say that he's not produced it probably his best this season, but he's shown flashes. He put a absolutely wonderful ball in, didn't he, the other day when he came off the bench? And again, at the weekend, put a shift in, did his job. No hint of any sulking or anything like that, because they all know, no, he won't tolerate this. He won't. If I want to get back in the team, the only way to do it is when if it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I've got to go and perform for 25 minutes. And then I can maybe have a knock on his door and say, look, any chance of giving me 90, any chance of letting me show you from the start. But I think they all know the penny has dropped with them, and they took it on board that you have to perform. It's no good crying about what you did last season, or, that's gone. And that is the way football works. You can live on your CV for a little bit, but you get found out on the pitch, and that's where you've got to do it. And I'd say we've got what looks like a really good way of the club picking the teams and deciding the teams in terms of Martin with his sticking to his way. You perform, you get the shirt. And he isn't one that just rotates for the sake of rotation. Managing minutes isn't a catchphrase this year. Although they still tries and times his substitutions at the right time. Bringing the wing backs off sort of regularly, sort of between 60 and 70 minutes, to try and get fresh legs on at the right time. So, it isn't. There is the data in there, obviously backing it up, but it is. If you're fit and you're playing well, you're in the team. And that is exactly how footballers know. Everybody knows what's required and everybody knows where they stand.
Ian Cooksey, the ultimate in the dark arts, he says. Get Charlton Athletic to recall Daniel Cano from Walsall and get him in on loan for us for the rest of the season. Joseph Crabtree, any chance of bringing back commentary Cam? Would have loved to have seen the Bristol Grimsby reactions on screen. Steve Silver, Shuey, like MP, he's getting the best out of this set of players. Using substitutions, correct time. Can't get enough of him at the minute. That Cano certainly does look a handful, says Michael Fido. Dale Pikett, Aidan Flint, and AJ will both be wearing a mask each this weekend. Yeah, old Zorro Jatta. Yeah, I saw he was in his mask again on Saturday. Both managers will be happy with a point on Saturday, says Derek Flowers. Joseph Crabtree, credit to the brothers for showing a more pragmatic approach and recognizing that possession is not always the most important metric. Fitter, stronger, faster, more hungry recruits are making a difference. Greta Maxwell says, to be honest, Joseph, I'd put that down to Pato rather than the brothers. Andy Eason, we must stop AJ from taking his shirt off post-scoring. Bookings are mounting. Super Jatta threshold up to 10 yellows now as a result of the extra game being played. Jurgen Pye, another manager, of course. Yes, Andy Wing lost their job at Barrow as well. We're getting into the kind of sacking season just before Christmas, aren't we? Still, top of the show. Historically, we are a club that has dominated possession. 95% of all the games we've played for the last 6 years. In our last 3 games, which have been 3 pretty emotional, eventful, entertaining wins, not to mention important and unlikely in some circumstances, all those 3 wins achieved with only 43% possession. How do you explain that?
Efficiency, ruthlessness, bit of luck along the way. I think we've got to add that in, but not loads, because you do make your own luck. You do make your own luck. Bristol Rovers could and should have probably scored, but didn't, and we only need 1 goal with 10 men to win that game. MK Dons do score. It takes them 2 minutes to score, and they score a couple in the first 20 odd minutes. But we still have the heart, the bottle, the desire, the work rate, and the skill and ability to get back on terms and win the game. And then at the weekend, yes, Grimsby had the one real chance, but they didn't take it, and we punished them. We punished them, and I think Saturday I think we fully deserved the 3 points Saturday. I think you could argue cases in the MK Dons game and Bristol Rovers game that any one of the 3 possible outcomes would have been a fair reflection. We could have lost, drawn, or won them games, and you could make a case for any of them. But I think at the weekend, I think we were good value for 3 points. It was a solid away performance. When you go away from home to anybody, and bear in mind they beat Man U at home, a fairly strong Man U team this season, not withstanding all the other teams that beat in the league. So Grimsby have got some decent players, and at their place against us, it's always a decent atmosphere. So the players will be up for it. So to go there and win 2-0 with, okay, you get that one real chance, but nothing too much of note. They had plenty of possession, but we kept them at arm's length. We defended really well and then punished them and scored a couple of goals, kept the clean sheet. You go, well, that is a really good away performance. Really ruthless, really hard working, difficult to play against, didn't give up many chances, not clear-cut chances, not, real goal-scoring chances. You go, that's a great away performance, that. And on the back of the previous away performance at Bristol Rovers, where we played with 10 men for an hour, then you go, that is the character. And that is it. It's a great word, isn't it, to have when you say your team's got a bit of character, bit of spirit, bit of fight. Everybody likes to hear that. Again, should be a fundamental, should be taken as a given, but it isn't always. But they're playing like a team like that. So again, I think that they make the fans proud. They make the fans proud to wear the shirt and to follow them up and down the country, which they do, and make noise. And then we get back to Meadow Lane, and we're back to the game Saturday against the league leaders. A massive game. I'm assuming they'll bring a couple of thousand with them. Should be a really good atmosphere. Really looking forward to it. It's a big game, first v second in the division. Doesn't matter what division it is, always going to be competitive. So I'm expecting a battle, and hopefully we can come out the right side of it.
I'll tell you one thing, and a couple of people, Richard Stanton and a few others, mentioned this to me, and I was thinking the same. In some respects, Grimsby on Saturday reminded me of us last season. They're trying to be elaborate, they're trying to be measured and precise, but it didn't. And for all them looking neat and tidy, like you've just said, they didn't really threaten us, despite the 57, 58%, whatever possession it was. And at times, and obviously this for Jatta, the second goal, they got caught out trying, to be a little bit too ponderous or precise at the back.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I think the way Dave Artell sets his team up to play, he wants to dominate possession, dominate the ball. And they did, at times. I mean, you'll love this. I mean, I know how much you like this, but I have the same. Adam came up with a stat that before the game Saturday, they were top of the XG league table. Grimsby, yeah. So they would argue a little bit like Stuart Maynard, and a little bit like when Notts were playing a bit more possession-based stuff or dominating possession. They would argue that they do it, by playing the possession way they do, it gets you into areas of the pitch where you can hurt other teams. But again, I would add a footballer spin on it. It doesn't matter where you get on a pitch; you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. Take the X off it. It's only the G that really matters. So yeah, that was it. Grimsby were top of the XG chart. So they would use that as backup for, well, we're playing good stuff and we're getting in good areas. We're just maybe not as ruthless, but they were one of the highest scorers in the division anyway. So they're not doing too much wrong. They're a good team, Grimsby. I would expect them to come back and climb the table as the season goes on again. But I just think, like I say, not worry too much about Grimsby. I think it highlights what a good team we are, because it doesn't matter how you go about it against us. We're going to fight and we're going to scrap and we're going to give as good as we get. And we've got the weapons to hurt you at the other end, with two goal scorers who are battling each other, pretty much as they'll say they're not. They want to be top of the tree. Nobody wants to be second leading scorer. So, it's good competition all over the place. When you look at the club, there is good competition for places and good, individual competitions all around the place. Competition for places at the back and up front and in the middle of the park. Wing backs as well has been mentioned. Like I say, I would agree with the person that the only place is the goalkeeper. Kelleroos has started all 20 games, hasn't he? And I'm not sure he's got too much competition in that area. But with the way he's performing, we don't need it at the minute.
You surprised me with the XG with Grimsby. Well, you do and you don't. Mathematically generated irrelevance. Do you know what I mean? I mean, looking at them on Saturday, you talk about a high XG. I didn't see a great, or on the basis of that, no, I didn't see a great finisher on their team. Do you know what I mean? And would I rather have a lower XG and Jatta and Dennis leading my line compared to, this wonderful XG from Grimsby? Well, for me, it's no comparison. It's just generated data that kind of you can use as mitigation,
and that is when it's been said before, hasn't it? That is when data gets trotted out. It's used as backup to deflect away from a result, because when you win, nobody bothers about the data. Nobody trots out, well, we didn't just win, we won with 68% possession, or we won with we won 6-0, but the XG says we should have scored 7, or we should have only scored 3. But so data doesn't generally get brought out when you've won games. Data, as you say, and again, this is not me saying data shouldn't be used. It absolutely should. But data is used as a bit of not a scapegoat, but a bit of an excuse as to, well, we're doing all right. The data says this. But as you and I do agree on, and I'm sure everybody agrees, the only data that matters is the result that goes in the book at the end of the day.
Indeed. Set me off that highest XG. I've never have had Grimsby down for that. Ian Cooksey, crazy to think that after Saturday's result, points-wise, Grimsby are as close to the bottom 2 as they are to us. Shows how crazy this league is this season. Royston, I just hope we don't bring young lads in the January transfer window. Derek Flowers, if we get 3 to 4 players in January, they will be sitting on the bench like the players have who they've replaced. Would they come to sit in the bench waiting their turn? Greza Maxwell, class Stell. I can fit you any outside lights that you need. I don't know whether you're in the dingy room or he's just saying he'll do a bit of work on the side for you. Jurgen Pony. Oh, Geoffrey Cotter, Traore, Hinchy. He's only just come back. And Jarvis need to go out in January and replace with experienced players. You're having a bit of a debate about January. We're just steering a little bit clear of that because we've got 2 or 3 more games yet. And I'm sure in the countdown to January the 1st, it will be focusing our minds even more. Michael Fido, I read somewhere Bristol Rovers have got the 2nd highest budget in League 2. Don't really know if that's true or not, but clearly it's not been spent very well. Ian McQuillan, who stays off the web. I've managed to get 2 tickets for the Jim O'Brien night. Only took all weekend for me to do it. I was going to suggest just come and see me on Saturday, but if you've managed to sort it without going on the system, you don't like to be registered, do you? I think, or verified, I think we're telling me, but you've got the ticket, so that's excellent. Adam Kent still mentioned the atmosphere. As fans, we like to think we were good. How did we sound on air? Lots of noise.
Brilliant.
No Grimsby fans for the last 10 minutes of the game, were there, to be fair?
No, absolutely. But no, brilliant. I'd say away fans particularly. And I always say this, because we wear the headphones. Obviously, I'm a commentator, so we've got the headphones with the sort of the mic thing on it. So we always get a little bit of a muffled sound, but then we've got a like an atmosphere mic, if you like, that picks up the sort of atmosphere in the stadium. Now, obviously, that's where we're sat, not where the Notts fans are necessarily in the away games. But yeah, you know when the atmosphere is proper. And again, the away atmosphere has been great. But yeah, Saturday was great. Bristol Rovers was unbelievable. Just all the time it becomes the norm. But the away fans have been great anyway, normally. And like I say, home fans, it's weird at the home fans, isn't it? Because when you're at home, you need to be winning. Sometimes the home atmosphere is taken for granted a little bit. But, like I say, at times this season, it's been absolutely phenomenal at home. And I almost wanted to, I said to Adam what was the MK Dons game? I said, I can't say I've really noticed any difference in the atmosphere with the safe standing bit at the back of the Kop, but then I don't know people who stand at the back of the Kop. And as people who sit in the Kop or stand in the Kop, do they notice much of an atmosphere in there since that safe standing bit's gone in? I don't know. I wouldn't say whether it's helped the atmosphere particularly or made any difference, but I just wonder whether it's helped people who prefer go to the game up there. But I don't know, Paul. Maybe you'd be in a better position to sort of speak to people that do that than me.
It's a very interesting point you mentioned about safe standing at home. Now, I'm sat in the Pavis. Like you, I've not necessarily noticed it be any stronger. I guess people that want to stand, and I think a few people have been asking if they can stand for the Jim O'Brien event. Do we have to sit down or can we stand? What you notice in the away end is that probably the back half of the stand, people all stand. And that tends to maybe it's because we're away, maybe it's because you've traveled a few hours or whatever it is. If you somehow measure decibel per fan, I'm sure it's a higher output away from home. And I think the thing with Bristol Rovers and with Grimsby was that we were very, we were enclosed, so that
Mm.
sound reverberates.
Yeah.
It sort of echoes. The acoustics really lend itself. See, it feels deafening when you're in there. Bristol Rovers, and it feels absolutely deafening.
Yeah, and it does, and that transmits. And I say we pick that up. And again, I think that's sometimes what counts against us at home, having such a big ground.
Yes,
When it's not 12, 13,000. It's there's a lot of sound leakage, I suppose, is this. I don't know if that's the
yeah,
scientific description, but
yeah,
there's a lot of empty space, if you like, at times. Even when we've got averaging 10,000, the ground is effectively only really about half full, isn't it? So there's a lot of empty space, if you like, and it's a big ground to fill with noise. I mean, yeah, you need something like the blooming PA system, don't you?
yeah,
The volume that can turn itself up to, but. Yeah, away from home, we go to smaller grounds and we're packed in. And you're right, the noise, everyone goes on to away trips. There's a lot of singing going on, a lot of noise going on. And again, you go in hope and expectation. So to win away is maybe harder than at home. So I think there is a natural element for home fans of any club to sort of sit and want to be entertained rather than away fans are making a day of it, gone on a trip and they're going to look forward to it and enjoy it no matter what. And getting the result makes it even better. So I think there is a bit of a natural human psyche in that. But yeah, the Notts fans have been unbelievable away from home, particularly. But again, even at Meadow Lane, there's been a great atmosphere because we've been winning games.
Good point you've raised, Stel. I mean, the message boards are just going mental at the minute, and I'll just read a few of these out. Ewan, I don't think the cop has got any louder as a result of safe standing. Hasn't really changed anything at all. Kay says no change in the cop, in my opinion. Jurgen Pye, I'm in the cop, no change for me. Essie Kent, we're towards the mid front of the cop and barely any atmosphere, unless jeering at the ref. Winds me up, says Ewan, people who sit in the cop and don't sing. Stephen Newton, I think, makes a valid point. Vocal fans concentrated together away, more spread out at home. Don't know whether, because effectively the noise is generated by two of the four stands. You've got the family stand, which during the winter isn't particularly busy, and you've got that gaping hole of the Cyril stand. I don't know whether if you'd moved a few people over with creative pricing into the Cyril, whether that would give you noise bouncing off the stands or not. Don't really know. Ian Cooksey, I think this is all part of Joe Palmer, the chief exec's point about having too many away fans at the Lane, as it gives the away team an advantage. I disagree, by the way, he says. Let's be honest, says Adam Kent. It's a good way to let standers stand. Away standing isn't policed. Yeah, I mean, I thought the most important thing is it is important to sections of our supporter base who like to stand. And by putting them in a standing area, you don't have the issues of sit down, mate, what you're standing for, which you do sometimes at the away games. To an extent, the compromise seems to be you go and stand towards the back and you sit down towards the front, which I think is a fair balance. It also lends itself, do you have reserve seating or sit anywhere at away games, which is another bone of contention among fans. Greza Maxwell, 5-5 draw at Grimsby the other season. Everyone stood all match. Probably 2/3 stood Saturday, I would have said. It's more the Derek Pavis stand where it's mostly quiet, in my opinion. Both the Gas and Mariner fans were barely broke into a collective chant, says Andy Easom. More variety of chant songs from the cop this season, which is refreshing. Alan Cotty, the noise from the Notts fans at Bristol was really loud. Great atmosphere. We stood all the way through, says Essie Kent, at the Grimsby game. Ian Cooksey, let's be right, Notts are silencing the home fans in their away games, which is a major plus. Right, I think we're about done now. Thank you as always for tonight. You and Adam then will be on comms on Saturday, yes?
Yeah, all being well. Yeah, all being fit and well. Yeah, looking forward to it. Like I say, a massive game. First v second always is. There's no dressing it. We can build it up, of course. We can. The players, it's another game, but like I say, don't forget the players will be. There will be a little extra spice on this when it's first v second.
Don't forget to get those Jim O'Brien tickets Thursday, February the 12th, only a tenner. Details are on the message board of where to get them from, magpiecirclepodcast.com to go and get them. Thank you for all that. It's about a record tonight, number of messages on the message board. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you Friday before the big one on Saturday. Next week, Stell's away again. Is only on a night. So we'll be doing the Tuesday. We'll be doing the Tuesday next week, just so you know. That will be our last show before Christmas. Thank you, one and all. Thank you to our official partners, JH Accountants, Trent Navigation, Over the Road, and Big Shed. I'll see you Friday. Vlog on Saturday, and Stell and I will be back next Tuesday. Cheers for watching, Stell.
Yeah, cheers everybody. Have a good week. Looking forward to Saturday. See you at the weekend.